Hey guys!
Well, good afternoon. This is Dan and Tammy Holloman from Whiskey Tango Harmony.
This is our first live video.
This
Congratulations, you're here for the first one.
We're kind of getting used to this.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing.
Little camera hiccup here set up. We're trying to figure it out. So we had
we're Dan and Tammy Holloman. Welcome to Whiskey Tango Harmony. Did you say that already?
I did.
I'm sorry. I am so tired. Today is my birthday.
It is.
And we have been gone for the weekend seeing some distilleries. We did not sleep very well, and I am ready for bed. So the whiskey has caught up to me.
So as we decided to go away for the weekend, it was we thought it was going to be a weekend of, at least I did, maybe visiting one distillery, maybe two, squeeze it in with other things, but mostly just kind of a restful weekend to sit back and just enjoy Tammy's birthday.
That's not what it was.
But it kind of became a whirlwind as we got there on Friday evening. Spent the weekend in a beautiful bed and breakfast, Spring Hill Winery and bed and breakfast.
Spring Hill Plantation.
That's
and winery. Yes.
Bed and breakfast.
I have no idea where we were.
1856 or 7 year was when it was built. Went through a lot of changes. It's got a winery now there, and the folks that bought it were a great host and hostess for us.
Super nice. Go check them out if you want to do a tour of the distilleries around Bardstown. It's like a perfect location.
It is. And
we'll tag them in this so you can find it. But it was very nice. Great breakfasts, great hospitality.
Yes.
Very, very nice old home.
So we had I had planned on one distillery. It was kind of short notice. I tried to get a distillery tour. Most of them you couldn't book any because they were either already booked or they just weren't available during the time that we had. And so we decided to drive down to Preservation Distillery, which was about 15 minutes from where we were staying.
Bed and breakfast.
And we didn't have any tour tickets. When I checked, there wasn't any available. When Tammy checked, I think before we left, or right as we were leaving, there was one available. But by the time we tried to book it, we couldn't book it. But anyway.
But we got in.
We got in.
We got in on a tour.
We got in on a tour. We walked in, and they said they had 1.5 hours, and so we took the tour. I'm going to spend a little time on this distillery because this distillery.
I think it's become our favorite distillery tour so far. We've toured quite a few.
Yeah,
we've toured quite a few.
It is a craft distillery. Interesting fact: it is only one of 2 women-owned distilleries in all of Kentucky. Only one of 2. So the background of the owner, she got out of college, and she was
she was from a family of distribution.
Yes, they were distributors. They owned a distribution business.
But she wanted to distill.
She figured she wanted to distill instead of going into the family distribution business. So at that time, this was back in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows what was going on with bourbon back in the 80s. It wasn't selling. It was the slowest time for bourbon, American bourbon, in the history of the liquid.
Because everybody wanted the clear stuff. No one wanted browns.
Yes. Everybody was going to the vodkas.
I actually didn't know that.
The gins.
Of course, I don't know much about whiskey.
And all of that. And the American whiskey bourbon industry was taking a real hit.
They were just dumping the barrels. They said there was an area they called Bourbon Lake where they were just dumping
because they couldn't sell
liquid. Yeah,
they couldn't sell. And so this young lady felt that probably wasn't a good idea to go into distillation at that point because bourbon was just not selling. So she started in the distribution business, like the family. Make a long story short, she ended up running into distilleries that had tremendous amounts of bourbon just sitting, couldn't sell it. And some of this stuff had been sitting for so long, distilleries had closed down, they'd gone out of business.
There was no records.
There was no records.
She called them mystery barrels.
So she started buying up. She had the foresight at that age to start buying up this alcohol that was sitting because somebody gave her some advice, family friend or somebody, don't know who, that at some point it was going to turn.
So some of these are from the 60s, 70s, and then 80s.
That's correct.
Yeah. And they should have much information on them.
Yes, mash bills. A lot of them didn't know what the mash bills were because a lot of these distilleries she was finding barrels at had already gone out of business.
Or they were handwritten and just stuck to the barrel, and then they'd fallen off,
Yes.
and no one had bothered to put it back on. So she called them her mystery barrels.
Yes, and so she started pouring. A lot of the casks were starting to deteriorate. So she started pouring the whiskey out of those casks into storage containers that were going to hold the liquid until she could figure out what she was going to do with it. Well, as we learned, she has become a master blender.
She has an incredible palate.
Yes, because she had all these barrels from all these years, all these different distilleries. Nobody knew what they were. And so she started blending her own bourbons from these mystery barrels, from these, a lot of these barrels that had no information on. And so what we tasted yesterday, we tasted 5 bottles of different bourbons yesterday.
We even found some that I liked.
Some rye,
Yes.
some bourbons.
Yeah, the rye was good.
And so what we did was we just got a sample here of some of the stuff that we bought yesterday.
So Daniel got an early birthday present. So
yes, we kind of
celebrated. It's my birthday, but he got the present.
Mine's coming up in about
2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. So kind of blended the 2 birthdays.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to tell ourselves.
But anyway, just to highlight some of the things. So this is an 8-year-old bottle of their bourbon, and this is called Rare Perfection. And what the host told us was that very few of her bottles get labeled Rare Perfection because it has to be very, very special bottling that her nose picks up in her taste. And so this one is an 8-year-old bourbon, and it is, let's see what it's bottled at.
We bought the 15, we bought a 14 too, didn't we?
We did.
So you didn't put the 14 over here.
It's 8 years old, 127.5 proof, so barrel proof. And then we got this 15-year-old Rare Perfection.
Which was so good. I really liked this one.
Yes, you did. And this is bottled at 119.7 proof.
But it was so smooth. It wasn't hot, like I say. It was so good.
And then we have...
How come you didn't bring the 14 over here? We do have the 14.
Maybe it's the other blue bottle. I thought it was... But anyway, forgive us. So we do have a 14 and a 15 because the gentleman that was ringing me up, he said, have you tried the 14? And we said, no, we didn't even know there was one. He went to the back and got one.
He said it was his favorite.
We ended up buying
And Daniel ended up trading his favorite hat.
Yes, when we took a vacation in Alaska a few years back, I bought a cap.
From Rusty's Flying.
Yes, we had chartered an airplane to fly over Denali, and they had a bunch of hats in there, and I bought one of their hats. Favorite hat I had, by the way. So this gentleman, yes, the older gentleman, he was ringing me up, and he's looking at my hat, and he says, "Can I ask you a question? Would you trade me hats?"
It was really hard for Daniel to say yes.
I said,
like you did.
I said, "You want my hat?" I thought he was teasing me. He said, "Yeah." He said, that's a unique hat. He said, "I've never seen a hat like that." And so I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I thought about it for a minute. I said, oh, and he said, you can pick out any one of these hats up here. And they were the distillery preservation distillery hats.
Which is a cool logo with Longhorn on it, so
Yes.
it is cool.
And so I said, he said, pick up whichever one you want. And he said, I'll trade you. So I said, well, I would think with all the money we're spending, plus the hat, you probably should throw that hat in and a shirt. Well, I'm wearing
So
the
you got
shirt.
the shirt too.
And so he threw the hat in, threw the shirt in, which, I hate giving up my
I got a
favorite hat.
sticker. I got a sticker.
Tammy got a sticker. But this is very old Saint Nick. This is another great offering they have. This is another one. It is very old Saint Nick.
So
this is a rye.
Old Saint Nick's are the mystery bottles, the mystery barrels, right?
Well, no.
Older.
No, well these are because they don't. There's so this is about two 17-year-old bottles, and this is they don't know what the bourbon is. They don't know what the mash bill is. They just know when she mixed these or blended these or took these out of the barrels. This is a phenomenal spirit, and it's in a half a bottle.
It's in a split.
So
what's really sad about this is that we'll never drink it. We'll never get to try it.
And you know what's even more sad is there's only 9 bottles left in the world that they can sell. Now, people who like us who have bought a couple, we're going to have these. But this is the kind of stuff that a collector dreams about because it's not being made anymore. And it was 17 years old when they pulled it out of the barrel. But these are their mystery barrels that they don't know anything about the mash bill, where it came from. But it's such a phenomenal liquid that they
say we'll never know.
Yeah. Who knows? But anyway, so we're also going to today, and we had some of this yesterday, and this Tammy really liked this. And this is called
I did like this?
Old Man Winter.
I don't remember.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I think I know I like the 14 or the 15.
And this is called Bourbon from the Black Hills. And it's right there on the label. And one of the guys there asked, what does that mean, Bourbon from the Black Hills? Because everybody thinks South Dakota.
The Dakotas, yeah.
The Black Hills of South Dakota. And so the guide said, interesting thing, because the distillery is in Tennessee. The owner wanted to give tribute to the Appalachian Mountains of the Eastern Seaboard.
In Tennessee.
Tennessee, because that's where this is, her distillery is. And so she's talking about the Black Hills of the Appalachians, not the Black Hills of South Dakota. So again, the owner wants to keep everything local, wants to make sure she does everything with the distillery from local sources.
And again, I always love this. She is all about organics.
Mm-hmm.
So the grains are organic, locally sourced. I love that when they throw that little side thing in. I think it's important.
And currently they're sourcing their grains, but they have plans and they're buying more land to their farm where they're eventually going to grow their own grains. Because she wants to have everything in-house. But their logo, don't know if you can see it, but it has
The Longhorn.
the Longhorns. They have Longhorns there on the distillery grounds, which is the logo for the distillery. So very, very cool distillery. They produce, a lot of these offerings are maybe 10, 15 barrels. That's it. Do you remember how many they produced in a year? It's
80? Not much.
70 or 80 barrels in a year.
Yeah.
And all of their stuff is aged. The youngest expression they have is 5.5 years old.
And they're right off the Bluegrass Parkway, so it's not the Bluegrass. The Bluegrass.
Blue Ridge.
No, Blue Ridge is in Tennessee. Bluegrass in Kentucky. The Bluegrass Parkway.
Bluegrass, okay.
Right on. So you see them right on the highway there, not far.
So a little background on this. This is liquid that's been sourced from Kentucky and Indiana. Okay, this particular expression here is bottled at 109.8 proof. And I was going to see if this actually has an age statement on it. I apologize, I don't have my glasses.
Let me see.
I can't.
Not that I can tell much better. I don't see an age statement, babe.
But the lady, the guide said it's at least 5.5 years old because they don't just or bottle anything less than that.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
And she said a lot of times it has older expressions mixed in it as well. When they do that, that's the youngest liquid in the bottle. It would be 5.5. So this was an interesting bourbon. As you can tell from the bottle, you got Snow Cap, the ode to the old man winter. But we're gonna try it. Hasn't been opened yet, but we're gonna. You want to do the honors?
I don't know how to open that thing.
Well, let's just.
Do you know how to open that thing?
Yes. You gotta pop that. Bear with us here.
You sure you know how to open that thing?
We probably should have opened this, but I wanted to open it on camera. But it's not cooperating.
We might have to. We might have to
Apologize.
pop one of those 15 years open, or what's happening there, babe?
Well, I got it broke loose in the wax.
Oh, now you've done it. Now you don't have a tag to pull. You have your knife with you?
No, I started reaching for my knife, and I'll tell you what. I'm gonna walk to the kitchen and get a knife. I'm gonna let Tammy continue to talk.
Oh, great.
Bear with me.
Great. So, yeah, we also saw while we were up there, Lux Row. They do the Blood Oath. And Daniel was really hoping to get a bottle of that up there. And it's releasing next Saturday. So he didn't get to get that. But we did Lux Row. It was fun. It was interesting. They had some cool things to try. They have actually a really fun cocktail bar that's open all the time. And so... and they carry a whiskey called Penelope that I had never heard of, but a girl on the tour said it was her favorite, so we'll talk about that later. And then we did Willet, which was a beautiful facility, and they were a fun tour because they had whiskey all along the tour. Several stops we stopped and had whiskey instead of at the end of the tour. A lot of times you have whiskey at the end of the tour. Willet had it all throughout the tour, and we stop along the way. So Willet had a really cool...
This is quite the
You're still opening that. Willet had a really cool patio bar that I wanted to just sit and chill out and relax, and we just did not have time because we had to be back at the bed and breakfast for dinner at 6. And I think Daniel's totally messing this up. He's making it worse and worse, and we will never do this again. We will open a bottle before we come on.
This is quite the journey, everybody.
Oh, we got it. We are to the cap. This had better be worth it, babe. It better have been one of the ones that I loved. I don't know anymore. I'm worried. But anyway, then the bed and breakfast that we stayed in, they had a winery. And so that was a sweet little place. And the wine was very good. They had a lot of sweet offerings. But they also had some dry. And I'm a dry wine drinker. And so it was just a great little weekend that we had together. And I'm running out of things to talk about here on the weekend. So...
Oh, this has been a fun.
He's getting close, guys. I promise. He's getting close. All
right.
We have liftoff.
We have liftoff, and we got some fun, a little bit different.
New Glencairn
glasses from Preservation with the Longhorn logo on there.
A little different shape for a Glencairn.
All right, there's Tammy's, and there's an interesting way.
We learned some new things.
The lady told us to
Twirl it.
twirl
calmly.
your glass at the bottom so that it just rounds around the bottom there. You don't twirl it or shake it like
a wine tasting. And we learned that one nostril is more dominant than another on smells.
And I learned mine is my right nostril.
Yeah, so you should smell it at both nostrils. I'm equally balanced with my nostrils. I have a good sniffer.
My sniffer's not that good. Sometimes that's a plus.
But it smells really sweet.
All right, well.
You can smell the sweetness and the vanilla. It's hotter than I remember.
Now, bear in mind that as we were doing this yesterday, we tasted 5.
We tasted a lot of whiskeys yesterday, not just from this place.
So and they had some chocolate.
Yes, the chocolate was very nice
to pair with, and she said which ones to pair it with. And I can't remember.
That was Lux Rowe that did all the different chocolate pairings. She had one chocolate at the end, and she said we could eat it anytime we wanted.
This is an absolutely delicious bourbon here. Lots of dark fruit.
It is better the second sip.
You've got what I'm picking up as I took that first sip was dark candied fruits. Blackberries, the dark fruits, cherries, and brown sugar, lots of brown sugar. And this was the profile because it was designed for winter. It has a beautiful color to it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a nice, rich, dark amber. And the finish is nice, very nice finish. What'd you pick up on yours?
It definitely has a little bit of sweetness, and I learned from her. It is a winter hug, how they describe it. It's not a hot burning, but it is like a winter warm hug. Like when you come in from the snow, you want something warm going down. But I learned that if you took a breath as you were sipping, you got all that alcohol in the back of your throat, and sometimes that's what takes your breath away.
And it goes down into your lungs.
It goes down, yeah. And so that's probably what I was doing in the past. So it does help that I don't breathe in.
So when you
we learned a lot.
When you take a sip of bourbon, don't breathe in when you're sipping. Just hold your breath, put it in your mouth, and
take a little sip. And it's not near as bad. It is still a warm hug
you
going
get that
down.
Kentucky hug. They call it a Kentucky hug, and that's that warmth.
It's not a gasp like, oh my goodness. I am going to put some water in mine. I'll try it. But it's a nice sweet, not super sweet, but
it's got lots of notes of, there's some cinnamon I'm picking up now as I took my second sip. It's got that warm, wintry dessert feeling profile to me that I'm picking up.
It's nice.
It's very nice.
I could do it more on a regular basis, maybe. Although we won't be, because this is going to last us, because the prices were shocking.
Well, when you're
Daniel
buying,
had a good birthday.
When you're buying from a small craft distillery, number one, you're supporting a small local business. They support small local business because they buy the grains.
It's true.
From the small local farmers, and so I have no issue paying a higher price point on a quality product from somebody like this, as opposed to one of the legacy distillers that's owned by corporations.
Not even in America anymore.
And most of them not even in America anymore. They're owned by the Japanese, or they're owned by...
mostly Japanese. That's what they said.
Yeah, somebody else too. Mostly, a lot of our distilleries, which is a shame, are owned by the Japanese.
Should be an American.
Or
American product.
I think there was an Italian company. Anyway, a lot of the big distilleries are bought out for commercial.
They're not family-owned businesses anymore.
Right. So anytime you can support a small craft distillery, please do so. And this maker is exceptional.
And Daniel is a sucker for a good story. I will tell you that.
I love a good story because a good story
Mm-hmm.
gives you a background. It gives you a foundation to appreciate what's going on. It gives you the history, gives you
a connection.
A connection. And we all love a good story. I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is what sells the product.
Yeah, and so I would highly recommend that you visit this distillery and do the tour that we did. It was a $45 tour, but we got to taste 5 of their premium, not their high end, but their higher mid range.
Mm-hmm.
So you get an opportunity to try some really great whiskeys, and then if you still want to try some things, they have a bar and you can buy shots, and it gives you an opportunity to try some really great whiskeys and hear a great story and spend a nice day at a quality distillery.
Yeah, beautiful grounds.
And they had some really nice cocktails. They had a bar also with some nice cocktails, and you could sit there and enjoy the day, and it was very, very nice.
But
Very nice.
the Preservation
Distillery
is the name of the distillery, and Old Saint Nick or Very Old Saint Nick is on the bottles, and a lot of these she hand makes her labels. She
drew these labels.
She has handwritten the notes. Of course, you know, it's production at this point, but the note was handwritten by her when the label was created, and it's exceptional.
She's done a really good job in every aspect.
Exceptional distillery.
Mm-hmm.
You will not be disappointed. You're not going to pay $30 or $40 or $50 a bottle. So get that. Get ready to spend some money.
Yeah, I think the
But it's worth
cheapest
it.
bottle was like $169. I saw.
I think it was. I think it might have been
Maybe that much.
this one here, Old Man Winter.
Yeah.
But for those of you that don't know this distillery, they've got a cult following because their whiskey is that good. And they've been in business now.
I don't remember. I don't know.
It's been several years, but they're I can't say enough about this.
They're
distillery.
well worth a visit. Well worth a visit.
Well worth a visit. Right off the main highway. They're in Bardstown is the location, and you got a lot of good distilleries there in Bardstown. We saw a few yesterday. We're going to go see some more when we get a chance. But this is a jewel right here. I can't say enough about this distillery and their product because of how they're doing it, and they don't throw a product out there just to get money on the table because it isn't ready, and that's important.
They were quality products.
Yeah.
Quality products.
So we hope you've enjoyed a little bit of history. We hope you've enjoyed spending some time with us. Sorry we were gone last week. We didn't get a chance to do a video.
We were out of town last week too.
And so we are doing it now. This is our first live. And I think we're out of town next week.
We are.
Well, no, we leave Sunday.
Sunday's when we do the video. So maybe we'll do it on Saturday next week. We'll see.
We'll try to get one in. We'd love to talk about some more of the other distilleries we visited and some of their product. But anyway, you all have a great week. It was good visiting with you. Hopefully you learned something and it was interesting. And tell your friends about us. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things you should, and help us grow.
See ya.
See you, everybody.
Bye. I don't know how to stop. Oh my goodness, how do I